Today's notes are all about circles. Okay? What example do you have in real life that uses a circle? What? A clock. Okay, excellent. And then, is it important where the center is? Yes. Okay. What else? A tire on the car. With a tire on the car, is it important where the center is? What if the center was off a little bit? Then how does that work on the tire? It's not going to work too well, is it? Okay. You may be able to go forward, but are you going to be able to go forward very fast? No, and then it's going to be a little awkward trying to go forward. Okay. All right. So the general equation of a circle is my blue, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. The center of the circle is hk. Yeah, let's do that again. It's weird, it only does it in this class. So the center is hk, probably because I'm recording this one. So it's going to do all the funny little lines. And the radius is r. Okay, so we have this little picture of the circle with the center at hk with a radius of r units. And then it goes out to any point on the circle, and any point on the circle is x comma y. Okay, let's look at our first example. Graph x minus 5 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16. So what is the center? 5, negative 1. What is the radius? 4. And now we need to graph it. So 5, negative 1. So 5, negative 1 puts us there. From the center, we go out a radius of 4 units in every direction. And then we give it the circular curve. And we have our circle. Questions? Okay. Example 2. On example 2, find the equation and graph it. So the circle is centered at 4, negative 3 with a radius of 5. So let's write the equation first. I need an x minus h squared. So what am I going to write? X minus 4 squared plus, what goes next? Y plus 3 squared equals what? Equals 25. There's our equation. Now we need to graph it. So let's draw a grid. We're going over 4, down 3. There's our center. With a radius of 5, so we go out 5 units in either direction. And with our points, we draw our circle. Are there any questions on that one? Okay, let's look at the next one. Number 4, we have to complete the squares and put the equation into standard form and find the center and the radius. So the equation we have is x squared minus 4x plus y squared plus 8y equals 5. Do I need to complete the square with the x's? The y's? Okay, I have to do it with both. So x squared minus 4x plus blank plus y squared plus 8y plus blank equals 5 plus blank plus blank. Completing the square with the x's, x squared minus 4x. Half of 4, and then squared gives us 4. So if I plug 4 in this blank, I plug 4 in the other blank. Y squared plus 8y plus blank, half of 8 squared gives us 4, and then 4 squared, 16. So then we put 16 on the other side as well. X squared minus 4x plus 4. What binomial is that squared? X minus 2 squared plus, what about y squared plus 8y plus 16? Y plus 4 squared equals what? 25. 16 plus 4 is 20, plus 5, 25. There's our equation. What is the center? 2, negative 4, and the radius is 5. Okay, any questions? Then let's flip it over. For the following examples, write each equation in standard form and then identify the conic section. So on the back, it may not be a circle. Okay, all the conics we've looked at so far, parabolas, ellipses, and circles. So on these on the back, it could be any one of those. So on the first one, number 5, we have x squared minus 6x minus 2y plus 5 equals 0. Okay, what do you think we're going to have to do with the equation? Complete the square. Do we complete the square with x's? Yes. Do we complete the square with y's? No. Do we have a y squared? No. So what's the only conic section where it only has one of the variables squared? The parabola. So that means this one has to be a parabola. And if it's a parabola with x squared, then we're solving for what? We're solving for y. So I want you to do this one on your own. Complete the square and solve it for y. Okay, so let's look at it. We have x squared minus 6x. If I'm completing the square, then everything else needs x squared minus 6x. So everything else needs to go to the other side. So we move the 2y over by adding, so positive 2y, and then we subtract 5, so minus 5. Completing the square, plus blank, plus blank. Completing the square, the 6, take half of it and square it, and that gives us 9. And then we add 9 to the other side. So what's my binomial? X minus 3 squared equals 2y plus 4. Subtract 4 equals 2y, and then divide everything by 2. So we get 1/2 times x minus 3 squared minus 2 equals y. And there's our equation. And we already identified the conic by saying it's a parabola. Yep. Looking at the equation, I only had one variable that was squared. I did not have a y squared. So a parabola is the only one of our conic sections where only one of the variables is squared. On the other two, both circles and ellipses, you have an x squared and you have a y squared. Yep. Let's go ahead and go through all of the lovely things we have regarding a parabola. So, what is the vertex? HK, which would be 3, negative 2. Can we find the focus? And how do we find the focus? Good. P equals 1 over 4a. A is 1/2, so it's P equals 1 over 4 times 1/2. So P equals 4 times 1/2 is 2, so P equals 1/2. So if P is 1/2, Which direction does this parabola open? It opens up. So then is our focus above or below the vertex? Above. Okay. Which one changes? Will the x change, or is it the y that's changing? The y changes by going up 1/2, so the x stays the same, 3. But the y changes from -2 to what? -1.5, because it's going up a 1/2 unit. What about the directrix? Where is that located? Y equals -2.5, because that's going to be 1/2 a unit below the vertex. What about our axis of symmetry? X equals 3. Excellent. Good. Okay. Let's look at our next one. Number 6. Y squared plus x squared minus 12x plus 10y plus 12 equals 0. I want you to solve this one on your own. Okay, for number 6, let me just jump to, what did you get for the center? Is it -5, 6, or is it 6, -5? Okay, so let's look at it, because I think it should be 6, -5. What about the radius? 7. Okay, so let's look and see. I'm going to put my x's together, so x squared minus 12x, and I'm going to put my y's together, plus y squared plus 10y, and I'm moving the 12 to the other side by subtracting, so -12. Plus blank, plus blank. So the other side gets 2 plus blanks. Completing the square with the x's. 1/2 of 12 squared gives us 36. Completing the square with the y's. 1/2 of 10 squared is 25. So the x's becomes x minus 6 squared. The y's become y plus 5 squared. And that equals, let's see, 36 plus 25 minus 12 is 49. There's our equation. What conic is it? It's a circle. What is the center then? 6, -5, and the radius is 7. Good. Questions? Okay, so I'm guessing those that did -5, 6, that you did the y's first and then the x's. Just make sure when it ends up being a circle, the x's have to come first and then the y's, so that you have your h, comma, k. Okay? All right, next one. Number 7. 3x squared plus 6y squared minus 36y minus 18 equals 0. Solve it. Okay, what conic section are you ending up with? An ellipse. So as we solve this, do we have to complete the square for the x's? Do we have to for the y's? Okay, so you have 3x squared plus 6y squared minus 36y, and then we move the minus 18 to the other side by adding to get positive 18. 3x squared plus, in the 6y squared minus 36y, we have to factor out the 6, so that we have y squared minus 6y, and then we can do plus blank equals 18 plus blank. But what has to be special about the plus blank on the other side? Has to be times 6. So 6 times what we fill in the blank with. So filling in the blank, 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So over there, it's 6 times 9, which is going to be 54. So we have 3x squared plus 6 times, good, y minus 3 squared, 18 plus 54 equals 72. Can I leave it like that? No. We have to divide everything by 72. 3 goes into 72 how many times? 24. 6 goes into 72 how many times? 12. So our equation is x squared over 24 plus y minus 3 squared over 12 equals 1. Now, I want you to pay attention. Look at the a squared. Which number is a squared? 24. So when I do the square root of it, is it going to be a nice pretty number? No. Okay? It's not always going to be nice pretty numbers when you have your ellipses. What is b squared? 12. Okay? So then b, not going to be a pretty number. Okay? On this one, what is the center? 0, 3. Which axis is the major axis? The x-axis, because the a squared, the largest number, 24, is underneath the x squared. Okay? And so then we need to identify it. So we have to say this was an ellipse. Questions? All right. That's it for the notes. You have the rest of today and you have the class period tomorrow to work on all the homework. Remember, you still have your homework for parabolas, and then you have the sheet of the homework for ellipses and circles. So pull it out and get busy on it.